On a positive note, you guys recently opened for Willie Nelson. I think it was last weekend.
Yeah, it was like 2 days ago.
2 days ago. Okay. I don't. Were you one of the ones that went on stage? They didn't say in the article who it was from.
We all did. We were all up there. It was like we did a. Willie does during his set. He does like a gospel medley. Yeah. You know, it'll be like "I'll Fly Away" and "Circle Be Unbroken."
Wow.
I Saw the Light, and so he does this. That's just part of his show, and then it's like all the people on the tour are welcome to come out and sing along.
Like anybody's going to turn that down, you know?
Oh yeah, exactly. Like we were all like, well, all right, don't get too drunk between our end of our set and 11 p.m. because we get to go out on stage with Willie, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Did you get to talk to him at all?
I did, briefly. It's funny, they told us we had to do it. It seemed like such like a superstar kind of thing. We had to prearrange a meeting with our tour manager with his tour manager, and so that we were in this special spot along his route from he leaves his bus basically with the family band, and they all walked Willie directly to the stage. And it seemed like one of those things where he's a super big star and he doesn't want to be bothered. He just, he comes off his bus, goes straight to the stage because he doesn't want to talk to anybody. But the reason they do that for him is because he comes off his bus and he wants to talk to anybody who's anywhere between his bus and the stage. He would be glad to just stop and have a earnest and genuine conversation with them about who they are and how they're doing. And so they said his tour manager sort of set us up in position to have him stop by, and I think they told him he was going to have to do that or something. But he stopped by and said, "Hey, just we have to have a little photo op and shake his hand and thank him for having us." And he was great, yeah. And then just being on stage with him was pretty incredible. That tour he's doing is cool, the Outlaw Music Tour.
Yeah.
Outlaw Music Festival, they call it. We got to hang with Tedeschi Trucks Band, and being backstage and talking, just bullshitting with Derek Trucks, all getting a hug from Susan Tedeschi, burning one with Sturgill Simpson, just kind of and Lucas Nelson, just the kind of just the community sense on that tour was pretty fun.
Well, I would think cool. I would surmise too that all those people you just named share very similar outlooks on not only what they want out of their career, but come hell or high water, this is what they're going to do, and they're going to do what they want.
Yeah, outlaws, man.
Well, it's just we're
kind of outlaw bluegrass. It kind of makes sense, but
we're
sort of weird too because it's a country festival, so I think there's a lot of probably Republican sentiment going on in the crowd. But that ain't Willie.
No.
Yeah, no. That isn't Willie, and that isn't Sturgill, and that isn't us, and that isn't Tedeschi Trucks Band. It's a really progressive, weed smoking, sort of leftist group of people presenting themselves in sort of this country package to this country audience, and it was pretty cool.
Well, it's people.
Surprise! Actually, we're a bunch of Democrats.
Yeah. Well, it's people were giving Willie shit for supporting this. I think it was this Texas Democrat or something. I'm like, have you not been listening to the guy for 50 years?
Yeah,
it's the same thing with
Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the drive-by truckers. It's obviously you haven't been paying attention to the lyrics for 20 years, But
roll me up and smoke me. I don't think.
Yeah.
Willie's exactly conservative here.
Well, in terms of the bass, what are you learning about it these days as an instrument, and also your relationship with it?
My relationship with the bass, romance. It's very romantic. That's a good question. Maybe I haven't stepped away to think about it like that in a while. When we talked about this last time, did I tell you that I was I don't know, I've been playing more electric bass.
Okay.
Maybe we talked about that last time.
Well,
I don't know.
Guess
I saw an interview, but
I interviewed Chris Wood of the Wood Brothers recently, and he was saying that.
What'd he say? Whatever he said, that's what I say.
Well, he was saying that what's surprising him is that he's realizing more that the instrument is just a vehicle. It's not the thing that makes you better. It's you that is there, and that is the catalyst. It's not the instrument. It's a vehicle for you.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. I got what he was saying.
It totally does.
Yeah.
Chris Wood is the freaking best. He's amazing. I love him. I think he's right. I don't know. I've always played bass a little bit differently than a lot of my contemporaries, especially in like the bluegrass world. I'm a classical cellist turned bluegrass bassist who really has never had any desire to really play in a very traditional way. I guess that's not true. Not no desire, because when I started playing bass, like I said, we were playing bluegrass songs, and our original material was bluegrass. But I think all of Greensky is learning that the sounds that we make with our instruments and the way we write our lines and our parts in these songs and the way we create textures together is not really defined by anything that's necessarily happened before.
Yeah.
I've always had a little bit different approach to the bass because it wasn't my first instrument, and so I sort of have this feeling like, and I think that it's working. I have sort of this feeling like a kind of an orchestral approach. I think sometimes it wasn't working for a while, just to have sort of a more, I don't know. I just write my bass lines differently than I think other people do.
Yeah,
and I think it's cool, and I think it certainly has become a very big part of what Greensky's sound is in a way that's kind of hard to describe. I think each of us, in our own approaches to our instrument, and when put together, like, oh, here you have Greensky, and it can't really be just stripped down to its own parts. But I very much play bass like, I've learned to play bass alongside of my bandmates in Greensky Bluegrass, and they've kind of had the same experience with each other. Like, they were, when Paul and Mike and Dave started playing together, they were each sort of like beginners.
Yeah.
On their instruments, and we're creating this thing together. So as we've grown our sound and as we've written music, we've been, writing and learning to improvise and arranging things very much with each other in mind. And sometimes it fails, but I know Paul really well musically, and Dave and Anders and Mike. It's like, we can sort of pick up on these little nuances from each other really easily. So I think that affects my playing as well. I'm trying to get out of that too, and not trying to be like a one-trick pony. Like, I'm really good at Greensky, but not anything else, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've been playing more electric bass at home. It's fun. My brother-in-law has a Grateful Dead project in Santa Cruz, and I play with them sometimes. It's fun just to like have the electric bass out and sort of like study what Phil's doing, and I also don't get to play with a drummer. So that's, I think, I'm the kind of bass player now who's like gotten really good at being a drumless bass player. Like, so always a certain portion of what I'm doing with Greensky is about the rhythm and about me sort of being a bit the bass drum. Like, I'm that part of the kit that we all create together. So I think that's defined the kind of player I've become, and getting into situations where I can play with the drummer it's sort of just like presents an opportunity to play like a different part of the beat and work on some rhythmic variants, and it's an ongoing thing. I think that I try not to like really like measure myself head to head against like the Chris Woods in the world.
Yeah.
Because I really like a bass off between me and Chris Wood, I would disintegrate in front of people. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm not that kind of bass player, and I never have been, but because I guess I'm not a lifelong bass player. I guess it's been long enough, but I have developed a thing that's mine and that's very unique, and that really works for Greensky, and that works for me. You know what I mean? It's like we all play very much and I think that's what's cool about us sometimes is we're very much a band. Like there's a lot of groups out there who, you know, have formed because they're all already awesome musicians with careers and, you know, they're notable players, and then they get together in a band, and that band is awesome because of each player in it is awesome and incredible. So obviously, but Greensky's got something special in that we're very much a band. Each of us together is greater than any of us as an individual. And we've come up and learned together so much that we really are a band, so much more than a lot of these other acts we see.
Yeah.
You know, who replace members by choice or not by choice, or, you know, are named after the people who lead the band, and there's a rotating cast, and not to say we're the best band in the world, but we're very much a band, and I always appreciate that about us. It's like the sum of all parts is something so much greater than any of us as an individual.
Yeah.
And we're friends. We love each other, and that makes it special too.